Uh, the topic I'm talking about today is all about great games. The term has been used in late 19th centuries, and it was when the Tsar Alexander, the Russian imperial, make a decision that he's going to protect the core Russian populated area. Therefore, he's going to invade the Central Asia. The British Indian Company, who was connected to British Empire at the time, they have no illusion that what the Tsar Alexander wanted was to invade India and take the Indian rich away from the British. So the game was set. Tsar Alexander, on his adventure to Central Asia, the method was very simple. He was using the pure, brutal military power. But for the British to play defensive, the options was very difficult because they were not connected to Central Asia geographically. So it was very difficult logistically to transport military to Central Asia. But also they have to convince the common Jews why the British troops has to die in that far away places. So the options was only two. Number one, to become allies with the population who was resisting the Russian invasion, so the British will provide funding and arms, so these people will take the fight to the Russian. The other option was to map the area, especially in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a mountainous country and a gateway to India. So there's only a few passes where the military formation can go through to India. So the British, they map the area so they can prepare the last defense before the Russian troops pass. And that mapping, how the national estates actually come about. That's a topic for another day. The Russian Tsar, when he was invading in Central Asia, the people who running the Central Asia, they were family Khanate. When we're talking about Central Asia, it's 5 countries: Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. Afghanistan can be one of it sometimes. Within 15 years, we're talking about 1892 or 1895, the Russians, they were already on the door on Afghanistan. And the British troops were prepared, and the British and the Russian, they were close to start a war. However, when the Tsar Nicholas take over from the Tsar Alexander, he changed direction. The idea was there was a more commercial and more rich can be found in Siberia, Far East, and all the way to Pacific. So he take the resource away from Central Asia to the Far East. That adventure has been extremely successful, and the Tsar Nicholas take a large territory from the declining Chinese Ming dynasty. However, when he hit what we call a Korean peninsula, which was a Japanese sphere of influence, the Japanese, as like the British, they have no illusion what the Russian wanted. So they hit the Russian quite hard. So the fighting between the Japanese and the Russian started. Within 18 months, Japanese handed to the Russian the biggest military defeat they ever suffered. And also they destroyed the entire Pacific and Baltic Russian Navy. That bring to an end the Russian adventure or expansion in Far East as well as to Central Asia. That great game, name has changed a little bit at the moment. We call Forever War. That has come back with vengeance. And that game has been played in Middle East for a while. But that game now, it looks like it's coming to a head quite soon. So temporarily, that great game of Forever War has been brought to Europe. But the European resources are not enough to sustain that Forever War. Because the power that take over from the British need resource, and the military industrial complex need funding and spending. So they need Forever War to continue another rich resource area, and the candidate is what we call as in a South China Sea. Anyone who following the traditional media, you will always notice, and the information will be given to you wherever the great games are being played. When the great games are being played in the Middle East, the enemies was the Islamic extremists. When the great games are now being played in Europe, the enemies is a Russian. And when the game has been prepared to play in South China Sea, then the enemies now in discussion is the Chinese. So always before, the new powers, if they want to go to the South China Sea, they have the similar problem with the Russian, with the British. They're not connected there geographically. So they're going to come to ask your permission for that adventure to start. So what you have to ask yourself is, before they string you along, am I being played for a fool? That's all. Thank you very much.